What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today I want to talk about the move by Donald Trump to send gang members to the supermax prison, super prison, whatever you want to call it, in El Salvador. So as we know, or as we should know, the president of El Salvador reached out to Donald Trump and said, hey, any illegals you guys got over there that are gang members, send them, that he'd take them. And just the other day, Donald Trump took him up on that offer and sent 250 gang members to El Salvador. Since he did that, the liberals, the Democratic Party, have filed whatever they filed, and they got a judge to say that stuff needs to be halted immediately. Okay. Now, I want to just point out, it was 250 gang members. The vast majority of them, I believe, over 230 of them were from the Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang. And the remainder, I believe, were from MS-13. Not one of them is an American citizen. A lot, if not the majority of them, were incarcerated for very serious crimes. Why is it that one of the political parties in this country is fighting our own government and saying that we need to keep illegal, extremely violent offenders within our prisons? Why is that? How does that make sense? So some of these, I would say the majority of these people that are fighting against it, and they're pissed. They are pissed off that some dangerous felons that are that have illegally crossed into this nation and then killed, maimed, robbed, raped. Like, those guys really need to be here. If you just listen to some of these politicians, the Trump administration is out of line for wanting to get rid of those people. And I say that the vast majority of them that are pissed about it and that are supposedly up in arms, look, they just want to talk bad, right? But I guarantee the vast majority of them don't have a family member in prison, incarcerated behind any walls. Because if they did, how would they react if one of their family members that's unfortunately incarcerated over here was assaulted or maybe even lost his life at the hands of one of these illegal gang members that are incarcerated? Would you then say that they still belong here, or would you want them out of here? So is it only going to change your mind if you become a victim? And keep in mind, this is 250 people who victimized minimum 250 people. They victimize a minimum of 250 Americans. Now, if they broke into a home, they victimized, if there was a husband and wife, they victimized them. If there was children, they victimized them. If they took a life, every single surviving family member, every friend is a victim. So 250 people were thrown on a plane, bust into the prison, had their head shaved, and we're supposed to be concerned? Why? We have our own American citizens that are living under harsh conditions, and you don't care about them. You're not concerned about their welfare, their treatment. Why are you worried about someone else's? I am a formerly incarcerated individual. I gave this state of California through my juvenile as well as adult criminal career, I gave nearly 28 years to the system. And due to my incarceration, I was forced to realize who the problem was. It was never the laws. It was never the judge, the jury. It wasn't the cop. It wasn't the DA. It definitely wasn't my victims. It was me. The one common denominator in every one of those scenarios, whether it's in court, whether it's when I'm arrested, whatever it is, I'm the only one there every time. So my incarceration forced me to realize I am the problem. And the only way I got out of prison, two things: a law changed, and I had developed personal insight into why I was able to justify the terrible things that I was doing. And had I not been able to justify that, had I not been able to identify those factors, I wouldn't have been able to get out. You know why? Because I wouldn't know what the problem is, and I wouldn't see it when it's developing and say, hey, take a step back. This could be bad for you. 250 guys that have not developed any personal insight, who have come over illegally, who are probably still participating in illegal activities behind prison walls. And how much money are we now going to spend fighting, one side fighting to continue to get rid of them, and one side fighting to continue to keep them here? Why keep them here? They can't, when their sentence is up, they're going to get sent to another country anyways. So Trump is expediting the process. Now, I will say, I've done a lot of time. I would never want to do time ever again in my life. I definitely would not want to do time in El Salvador. If I'm being honest, if I had to do time anywhere, I wouldn't want to do it outside of the United States, unless I was in Europe, where it seems like they're even more lenient. But when you compare the treatment of convicts, inmates, prisoners in the United States, and you compare that to Mexico or anywhere south of Mexico, boy, it's a whole different world. But in order for someone to really change and really look within, they have to hate where they're at. They have to hate what they're doing. And then that'll drive them to get out of that situation and get out of that mindset. I want to know, I'm interested in the comment section. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about one of our political parties fighting to keep people here that are going to be deported upon completion of their sentence anyways. I think that's what's being left out of the equation. I think a lot of people don't understand they still have to be deported. You broke a law. You committed a crime. As an illegal, you don't get to get released. That's been the case for decades. So with Trump expediting the process and saying, hey, not only are you going to go back, but you're going to go back before you finish your time. You know, one of the problems with incarceration in this country, especially in a state like California, I'm sure Texas is the same way, 2 prisons that have huge correctional facilities or systems. Overcrowding is horrible for mental health, for living conditions. So if we start deporting a lot of these guys, there's more room, less crowding. But you know what? One of the most powerful industries in the United States, the prison industrial complex. There is so much money. California, take California for an example. California's budget last year for corrections, I believe, was over $13 billion. Over $13 billion. Having been incarcerated in the California Department of Corrections for over 24 years straight, I can tell you, and I think if you ask anyone who is incarcerated, if you ask them how much money they believe is actually, how much money is being spent actually on incarceration, rehabilitation, and housing, I don't think anybody would tell you more than $2 billion for the whole entire state. So there's over 11 billion unaccounted for every year. That's just California. It's very amazing that taxpayers don't demand more transparency when it comes to the money being spent. Where is it being spent? Because I'm going to tell you, the food is bought in bulk. The canteen is resupplied due to inmate purchases. So they'll fill the store up, and then inmates will come and buy it, and the prices are they're just raised up, just right. And so you're buying back the items that you bought, you're replacing them with your purchase and some. So they're not spending money there. The basketball courts were built when the prison was built. There's no upkeep. There's no nets. There's no new balls. There's no sports leagues. Like, I don't understand, where is the money being spent? Well, you know, they say in California it costs like, it's around $100,000 a year now. In California, it's around $100,000 a year to house one inmate. I believe we still have about 100,000 inmates in this state. Imagine that, 100,000. But you go to the state right next door, I think they house theirs for the year is 40,000. Why does it cost 60,000 more in California? I'm sure we live the same. They may even have more programs than us. Where's the money going, people? So, me personally, as an ex-convict, as an ex-criminal, ex-crook, I don't see a problem in lowering our population, sending people where they were already going to go. Maybe they're going to go in a year. Maybe they go in 10 or 15 years, but they were already going to go. Send them now. That's less money spent on dental, on psych, on medical. That's $100,000 less every year for each one of them. Wouldn't we be saving money? No, the budget will probably go up again next year. If they got rid of every one of the illegal criminals that are housed in the California Department of Corrections, every one of them, that'd be a lot of people. I bet you the next year, the budget goes up somehow. They're housing less people. Less money's being spent, but they're going to need more money. A lot of times, people get caught up in the smoke screen. People get lost in the bushes and the weeds and in the smoke. And they lose sight of the main issue. We have too many people incarcerated. We're paying way too much money for incarceration. And if we can lessen that through rehabilitation and deportation, I'm all for it. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.